record. So thank you, Lisa, for agreeing to come online and update us all this morning in our I Am Woman Hour on, how are we going to get our learning online? And we talked about, when people are starting up trying to get their learning online, it's almost like entering a very dark room and you're looking for this black cat that might not even be there. And it's total confusion. And I think, we've already talked about, one of the first steps might be just doing an online course that somebody else has done. And you have a freebie online, how to create a digital marketing strategy. And there's all sorts of free challenges, I know. So, yeah, so we're just starting this process with you. So thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us and sharing your expertise with us this morning. So we just started the online going around everyone to see where everyone is at. So I'm going to come to the amazing Louise Adams, who I know is really looking forward to getting some learning online. So Louise, can you tell us your background and why it's time to get some learning online?
Yes, I will. Can you bear with me and come back to me, because I can hear an alarm going off in the background.
Hey,
So
no
I'll be the
worries.
next person. 2 seconds.
Okay, no worries. So Ellen, I'm going to come to you. You're very new to I Am Woman and really within the healthcare genre. And so why have you decided now to pop some learning online?
Well, I am desperate for this, to be honest. I've done a few experimental courses using Facebook, kind of getting people on, discussing rosacea and ways to get rid of it as an experiment. And then at the end of it, they would buy another course off me. But I haven't created something they can click on, buy, and then go off and do it on their own. That excites me. And I'd love to get into it. I want to get into this. Yeah, definitely. So I'm excited about this, to hear about it all.
And of course, last week we were talking about passive income, and getting some learning online is some great passive income as well. So I'm going to come to you now, Louise. Has that alarm stopped kicking off?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so this couldn't come at a better time for me. So I've got a training company called Petals Training. And for the last 10 years, I teach people how to get up and teach. So that's the accredited teaching qualification for those who want to become training companies, teaching private education, that kind of thing. And as part of my work there, I also design curriculum for people who want to go out and teach. And I've done some quite big projects for government in sort of designing their training packages. But what I'm looking for is that whilst I've been busy doing that, I'm acutely aware that I'm too busy at times. And actually, I'd like some evergreen courses, which would be pre-recorded courses so that my learners can tap into a learning platform and have some pre-recorded materials, because otherwise I'm finding that I'm constantly online teaching and curriculum design, and I could just do with a bit of passive income really, and to see how that looks. So yeah, so this is a nice synergy actually with Lisa. So I think this will be fab. Can't wait.
And what's really interesting about what Louise has mentioned there is that there is a certain amount of what she does that she's actually wasting time going through that, one-to-one with somebody, whereas she could actually make her time more effective by saying, hey, there's an online program for this, yeah, and just scoop people off, and so you can be receiving some more income coming through, and you're not repeating that same process with so many people.
Yeah, definitely.
So coming to you, Yvonne, have you ever put learning online? You've probably done lots of it yourself, but have you actually put your own learning online? Over to you.
No, and I just think this would be a better use of my time. I've done lots of online learning, but it's been live online learning. I mean, during lockdown, I put lots of my courses and we did them live rather than on Zoom rather than face to face. And that was great because I could keep those courses going. But it is very time consuming. And I need those courses, like you say, Louise, to be those sort of evergreen courses that are there so people can actually just pay and do them in their own time. Because the problem with doing them live, even if they're online, is you're only grabbing people who are available on that day and time. And if they were on my website and people could just view them whenever they wanted, I think you get more business and more people driven to that.
Great.
And
point.
it's passive income, isn't it?
And I bet Lucy is the same, because Lucy is our cooking queen. You know, I bet, you know, what you've done so far that I've seen has been very much live online, unless you can get to that live online. Again, you almost feel you've lost the opportunity, and you've lost the opportunity of a sale as well. And I bet you're repeating a lot of stuff, because already I know you've cooked for us in I Am Woman. I'm already thinking, oh, how does she make that artisan bread? You know, how does she make this? How does she make that? And I would love it that I could just click on and see you actually cooking those recipes again. So over to you, Lucy. What's your experience? Have you ever popped your training online?
So no, so anything I've done, as Yvonne said, is live. So it's on Facebook or you know, on videos. So so people can go back there, but it's not a good enough reference. So I actually had a meeting with Lisa last week, and we're in talks about how do that, because I think that, you know, my job, as in most jobs, there's so much duplication, and to have something in one place that people can then refer to, I think is excellent. So yeah, no, I'm excited for today. And I think it's definitely, and I love that fact. I've been telling people your fact, Cheryl, that you said in 2025, was it 3.25 billion? You know, that's how much the business is worth of e-learning. Yeah. You know, it's crazy.
Massive. A really good friend of mine, she wrote a series of books as well. And these books were top selling, say 20 years ago, and then converted them 20 years later into online learning and got those into Virgin. And you think to yourself, gosh, we can even repurpose stuff we've done decades ago and turn that into online learning. And again, it's repurposing and it's passive income, isn't it, from something you created donkeys years ago. So coming to you, Miriam, you know, again, you're very much a live effervescent person. That into online learning that corporates could actually put on their intranet and everything. So what are you going to be doing with online learning?
I have no idea, if I'm honest. I've done lots of online learning myself, which has been great. And because my journey is so kind of new at the moment, I need to think it through and see what I can do workshop wise, but have it online as well. So I'm excited to hear what Lisa's going to be saying this morning, because yeah, I'm open to new ideas. I really am. I'm excited.
Wonderful. So we're going to be coming to you now then, Lisa, to share your magic with us all about online learning. Over to you.
Right. Hey everyone. Right, so I thought I'd get started by telling you how I got into online courses and what I did for my first online course, to try and give you know, that might be, it was very, very basic to start with, so you don't have to have all bells and whistles to start with. So obviously I do websites, so I created online courses for lots of my clients, for different things, and very much like Louise said, there's only so many hours in a day that you can work with people one-to-one or doing support and that type of thing. And I found that through doing websites and support, there was so many women out there that just didn't have a clue. Like you said, Cheryl, it's like walking into a dark room when it comes to like tech and websites and all that type of stuff. And for around 2 years, I was like, I'm going to create an online course. I'm going to create an online course. But I was so overwhelmed. And even though I knew how to do it because I was doing it for my clients, my brain was so overwhelmed with what would I include? How would I, you know, present it? How would I start? I've got to film all these videos that I don't have time to do and all that type of thing. It really freaked me out. So I just kept putting it off. And then I went to a goal setting workshop with a lady called Kerry Gillett, and she said to me, well, why haven't you done it? And I'm like, oh, I got to do all this, I got to do that. She said, they're excuses. And I'm so glad she did, because she said, right, before you leave here, she said, I want you to post on Facebook. She'd just pick a date and say you were launching a course on this date. And I was like, oh, because this was in, I think it was like the beginning of August, because it was like a summer holiday type thing. She was like, when the kids go back to school now, all these parents that run a business, they want to get stuff online. And I was like, oh, I can't do it by September. She's like, right, just get a date. So I just wrote it on Facebook and then was completely and utterly petrified. But it kept coming closer and closer to the date, and I'd only done a few Facebook posts and 8 people signed up. So obviously on the website, I'd done a payment thing. 8 people signed up, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to even give to these people? Because I had nothing apart from my knowledge. And what I did was I decided the first time I run the course, I would do a live. So what we did was, all I had was a piece of paper with 8 headings. And that was the 8 weeks. And that's all I had, is one piece of paper with 8 words on. And that's how I run my whole course. I literally, obviously the words were like what we were going to focus on each week. We had 1 Zoom call a week, and we had 2 Zoom calls a week. So I done the session live and recorded it. And then I answered questions on the other one, and they were in a Facebook group. So I had no sign up on my website, like course section on my website or anything, because it was like the beta version. And I'm so glad I did it live, because it taught me a lot. One, it gave me confidence to know that from 8 words on a piece of paper, I could run an 8-week course and just keep talking and talking, and I knew what I was talking about. And also, what I thought people would struggle with, a lot of that wasn't what they were struggling with. So I could adapt that then. And when I was recording the videos, I then turned that into a course. So I kind of did it as I go along, because like you said, Cheryl, like we was talking about earlier, and you said you have to put it all together and how you're going to organise it. I was so caught up in that, I just couldn't see where I was going. So literally, you can start a course with a piece of paper saying 8 words on it. It doesn't have to be all bells and whistles. So I've got a few questions I wrote down that I'm going to answer, and then obviously over to you to ask questions. What is an online course? So obviously, online course is just a course that you take, but it's online. So it can be on your website. There's other platforms that you can run the courses, but it's just, we've probably all taken online courses. I'm assuming everyone on here has done some sort of online course, whether it's in a Facebook group, on a website, on like Kajabi or Teachable or something like that. There's so many courses out there for women in business. There's probably millions. And like Lucy mentioned, you said, Cheryl, about how much the industry's worth, especially since COVID. The amount of people, yoga teachers and things like that, I had come into me at the beginning of COVID to get their classes online, and for people to have memberships and all stuff like that. It just went like that. But why should you do an online course? So we've touched on some of the reasons this morning when you've all said stuff. But for me, the biggest thing is, like I've said and Louise said, it's a passive income. So it's not completely passive, because you have to do the work to start with and keep it updated. But when you were out and about and you working full 8-hour days, that course is in the background. Obviously you still have to sell it, so you have to put the effort in, but people can buy it anytime. I do run live versions of my course now and again, but anyone can buy a self-study off my website whenever they want, which I have had quite a few people do it just randomly that I've never even heard of. So it's going from one to like the masses. So you can teach so many people one thing, but you don't have to be there every time. So it's a better use of your time and another income stream. It also educates people to show you as an expert. So I know, Cheryl, you mentioned my free course earlier. So the free course I run is planning your website and your website strategy and stuff like that. I am filming an updated version this week when we run it live. So those will be updated. But you can go on and you can plan your website. But like you said, Cheryl, it's so much, it's the organisation thing of what you really want and to put it together in your own mind before you go forward. And lots of people have taken that course that's free and they've thought, look, she does know what she's talking about, funnily enough. And then they're like, oh, actually, I want you to do my website. Or can I buy your course? Because I've created my plan now and I've got this plan and I either need someone to do it for me or I need you to show me how to do it. So, you know, even if it's a free course, it's some way for people to start and learn more about you and how you work. So it's a low cost way to start a funnel of something higher priced. Because lots of people have done my course and then bought a £2,000 website off me, for example, because they like, we like how you work, we like, you know, we've created this plan and now we're going to go forward. Also, you can turn a course into a membership. So when I first started, I was like, but I've created this course now, how to create a website. Oh, I'm going to create courses on SEO. I'm going to create courses on e-commerce. I'm going to create all these courses. I got a bit addicted. And I created all these low cost courses. And then I thought, actually, I'm going to turn that into a membership. So you can buy my 60 Steps to Website Success course. Or if you want the more advanced courses, currently we've got like e-commerce, online learning, lots of different ones. They're in my membership. So people pay monthly and take the courses, and then we do once a week, we do a Q&A so they can ask questions about any of my courses, including the big course. But then they get access to all these other courses as well. So it could be, and I know, Lucy, we spoke about this last week, didn't we? About your recipes and things like that. Could be like a membership type thing. So they're online courses, but they're part of a membership. And you probably in, some of you are probably in memberships where you get access to loads of videos and courses and things like that. So that's another way. So you can set, if they're a lower price, just bundle them together and people pay monthly rather than selling a bigger course. But you get that ongoing income then every month until, and hopefully you keep them forever, but and you just keep bringing out new stuff. Can any business have an online course? So I was thinking, Miriam, with you, I was thinking, like Cheryl said, you were very, you know, much painting, it's a very alive aspect type thing, but you could do, you could run art classes and workshops online that people can sign up to. Also, how you find inspiration to paint things, because I know you're that, like the happy artist, and you take a lot from nature and all that type of stuff. So it could even be someone who likes painting and they already know how to paint, but they've just lost their inspiration and stuff like that. Because I think you would be really inspiring from those type of things. Suggestions for Lucy. I also think, like Lucy, like you said, people don't know how to get themselves into a best position for a mortgage. I know I've spoken to you about this before, so people don't know that type of thing. I remember speaking to you a couple of weeks ago. I think it was when we was with the other Lucy and she was cooking us food. About people that are renting and they think they can never buy. And I remember saying to you that I saw someone on Facebook saying she hates paying her rent. All these people have given her different advice. She never thinks she's going to be able to buy a house. She's given up. Whereas just like a quick, you know, even low cost online course, or even a free online course, because if they took it and then got themselves into that position, they could come back to you and say, actually, we're ready for that mortgage now because you helped us get to that point. So they would trust you. So trust and education is a really big part of it as well. What else have I got? Where to start? Like I said, you don't have to have bells and whistles and this big course setup and everything to start with. Obviously, if you've been running a course and it's well established, which like you, Cheryl, you've kind of got the modules already, you've got everything there ready, and it's how to convert that then into an online learning platform. But for lots of you, it's probably just an idea. And literally, even though I teach planning all the time, I'm the worst planner in the world because I leave everything till the last minute. But I get a piece of paper and I like to, you know, like a big paper. And I suppose this is a bit like mind mapping. And I said I didn't do mind mapping, but it's putting the name of your course in the middle. And then all the modules you could do. And this is how I done mine. So I just put website in the middle, and then I had 8 spokes for each week. And then each one I just put setting up WordPress, what are plugins, what is a theme, that type of thing. And then it went, and then obviously you can list what you would do in those different bits. What else have I got? But it's organising it and planning it. And I think if you just jump in and buy software to create a course, and it's exactly like when people come to me and they say, I want to create a website, and they do all my course, they've learned all the skills to do it, but they have no idea what to put on their website. It's a big stumbling block. So if you've got some ideas before you get started, and like what you mentioned, a spreadsheet, when Cheryl, that you're going to start organising on.
So for Aspire, I've delivered the program for 10 years. I never put it online. And it's a massive program, and it's accredited through the Institute of Leadership and Management at level 5, which is almost like a master's level qualification. So it is a substantial piece of learning. So it's then I was thinking, how do I organize not only 10 years worth of live training, but also I'm a kleptomaniac when it comes to information relating to my topic. So I got files and files and files, you know, week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way through to week 8, the amount of pieces of learning I've got online. So I thought the only way I can organize this is to organize it via a spreadsheet. So I've got a spreadsheet that runs, it feels like half a mile long, going through the weeks of each of the topics. And then what I've done as well, I've because my husband's really good on Excel, I've been able to attach all the files to the topics. So it really was for me organizing the data and then aligning the data to each of the themes and the topics that I'll be covering. And I feel now, and it's really amazing, you know, because I'm really good at organizing learning for other people, as you say, Lisa, but when you're doing it for yourself, you might be a great developer of learning and schemes and all sorts of techniques relating to learning, but it all goes out of the window when it's you, because you just feel as though somebody throws a blanket over you and you get a bit lost. So I'm just sort of stepping back from it, and I'm just to start organizing the data. And then I'm going to look at the techniques, because again, online learning, you could do quizzes, you could do all sorts of stuff as well in order for people to get the point. So I'm at the stage where my spreadsheet is massive. I'm making sense of how the data then links all the files and all the website links. So I've linked it to the files. And well, I've got to get a move on, because next week we're going to be using one of the modules as an example for you. So, you know, Karen knows me. I'm like most people, I leave it all to the last minute.
Like me.
I wrote in 4 days, you know, I'll apply 4 days to it and I know it'll be done. Yeah, I won't sleep, but it'll be done.
I was exactly the same. But I think with you, Cheryl, it's a massive, massive course, and you've already been running it for, like you said, 10 years. So you've got all that information there. So it's trying to put that into a way now to put an online course. Whereas for most of you not doing online courses before, just start small. Literally, when someone asks me to do an online course, I just say, all I need is the module names, and then we go from there. I set up an online course for someone before Christmas, and all she had was the first model. There was a video, a welcome, blah blah blah, and then she was going to do it in weeks, but they were going to drip feed her. So she said she only has to do 1 week's content. So this is how I done my 60 steps, because previously I had the course and I revamped the course last year into 60 steps. So people had small tasks they could do, like 1 a day or something like that. So it's not so overwhelming, and it was all done in order. And what I've done, when people signed up, I was like, oh my God, I've got to add an extra day now. I've got to add an extra day. So I was doing videos every day, and I had to do it because they was being sent out the next day. luckily I had the majority of the videos, but like I remember one day coming in on a Friday and thought, right, all next week now I have no videos, so I have to film 7 days of videos today, and they have to go on their website because on Monday that's going to be in someone's inbox. So it's nothing like a bit of last minute to push you to do things. But I think there's so many things you can do as online courses, and that's why so many people are online now, and it is a massive industry. A friend of mine, she helps people, crafters, create online courses, and there's so many things that you can do. Like, so they even teach people knitting. There's so many different things. Just because you think what I do, I couldn't turn that into an online course. People always want to learn, and learning and online learning is just getting bigger and bigger. Like I'm doing online course at the moment for people to how to train their puppies, for someone, not obviously for me because I don't like animals, but she's teaching people how to train their puppies and all things like that. She's a dog trainer, so she can always only work in her area, so at the moment she's not going all around the UK, but she can help train people all around the UK. I had a lady before who was a driving instructor, and like us, she only had a certain amount of hours a day she could do driving lessons. I couldn't think of the word then. I was going to say tests. She could do driving lessons, so she thought, how can I capitalize on this and make more money, because I can only book so many students in a week. So what she did was she created an online course to teach people the theory test, and so we created her website, and she created it much like the theory test app you get from the DVLA or DSVA, whatever they're called now. So she created similar on her website, and her income actually soared. There's so many students that she's got, that the course is there. She doesn't have to do anything. There is a Facebook group, but all these students, and I actually did buy the course last year for both my younger daughters, and they passed their theory test straight away. So it is really good. So you just think, even like a driving instructor, she like at least 3 times their income just by bringing out an online course that people can sign up to any time, because she had her area of driving. She couldn't go all around the UK driving because that would cut even more into her hours. So she thought, how can I get to everyone in the UK that has to do these theory tests? And she actually got another course now where she teaches people driving. So my middle daughter was learning to drive through COVID, so lessons stopped and everything like that. And I had a chat with her, and she said, for parents who want to teach their children to drive, you watch the videos together, and then you go out and practice the manoeuvres, how she taught it, because she obviously knows what you're supposed to be taught. I learned to drive 25 years ago, so I was like, I'm not good at manoeuvres and all stuff like that, but little things. And she sells these low cost, and obviously she has this massive business online now, and I think she's cutting down her actual driving instructor hours now because it's making her so much money online. She's actually gone on now to develop an app and all sorts of things. So there's so much that you can do. So I would like to ask you now what you think that you could do after I've spoke about that. So I don't know, Lucy, what do you think? Lucy, Mortgage Lucy.
Mortgage Lucy.
Yeah, well, I know there's 2, Mortgage Lucy and Food Lucy.
Yeah, there's obviously, it's harder for me because I think I've got like a little thing of people don't want to talk about mortgages, it's boring. But I think having online learning is probably going to be key, or like maybe like brochures instead of me doing like an online learning, just like a brochures of like top tips on how to get a mortgage or what types of mortgages there are. And I think the renters one is obviously going to be a good one for me, because that's like holding their hands from all the way to the through the whole process. So whether or not it's now or in the future, it's that working towards that journey. But yeah, I don't know about the online learning for me though, or how it would work.
I think it's like ideas of things you could have. And like I said, you could just offer free courses in terms of like tips or like the renter
Yeah.
thing and stuff like
And
that.
would that be like I don't know, like a podcast, maybe not like podcasts, but like YouTube or something like that?
Yeah. So I just film my videos, I put them in Vimeo, and then I just put them on my website. And then there was me this morning doing my live on Zoom so I could record it and forgot to record it. So you've always got to remember to do record.
And what do you use? Vimeo.
Vimeo. The reason I use Vimeo for my videos is you can't upload a video to a website. You need a link. I pay for the lowest plan on Vimeo, which has always been enough for me. I think it's about £60 a year. And I can put my videos on there then. I can put the link on my website, which you can do with YouTube. But what happens if you do it with YouTube? You've got the YouTube branding and you get this little link in the corner saying share. Well, if people have paid for your online course, they can just go and share the link with anyone else.
Right.
So even if it's unlisted, so it's not listed on Google. I'm so obsessed with doing stuff with SEO on YouTube. So with Vimeo, you can remove all the branding, you can take off share, everything. So it looks like that video is on your website. That's the paid version.
Yeah, I think me personally, I would probably do it for free anyway. I wouldn't like charge, so I wouldn't mind having that share option anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm so crap at videos.
You do videos all the time.
I know, but it's like if it was like giving, I don't know. Like I did a podcast the other week and I was absolutely shocking. I was like, in the end, I was like, right, come back to me because I'm having a wobble.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
Karen, you are right.
But it's not coming out right.
Yeah. But yes, Karen, you are right. You can say that it can only be shown on specific websites. And I always remember many years ago, I was doing a website for an NLP trainer and her courses. And at the end, because she was using YouTube to start with, at the end, they got to the end of the video and it started advertising her competitors' courses, which you obviously don't want.
Well, yeah. Would you say like YouTube is good for stuff like that though? Or
yeah, if you want public, YouTube is better because you have more public reach, I would say. But Miriam, did that make you think a little bit more about what you were going to do?
I like the idea of have you lost your inspiration, but I think probably the problem that I have is because I'm self-taught, actually teaching people, I feel like I don't know how I would then do a course about it. I mean, I when I do my workshops, I talk through the process that I go through and make it very clear that I'm not a teacher as such, but I'm sharing the way in which I create. So I don't know how I could do a course.
I'm going to come back at you then, Miriam. I think it's more about, you've got a really strong story connected with why you started painting. So for me, it's not about teaching such an accurate technique. It is about teaching somebody emotionally to shift from where they were to where perhaps it would be healthier for them to be. So you are the expert in, telling that story that you took up painting because of, you lost your mother. How many other people have lost relatives or, there's so much, mental health issues going now. Really, perhaps that's the angle, helping people emotionally to become more inspired and motivated via the art of painting. And you're the expert on that.
Yes, that's something that I am really passionate about. So yes, I need to look at it from that angle as opposed to the art, actually producing the artwork. Yeah. Oh,
and I'd also like to say I have no qualifications in web design whatsoever. I've done various courses, but I've taught over 100 people to create their own website through my courses. So, you know, it doesn't, some areas don't need qualifications and things like that. Obviously with Lucy, you have all like compliance and stuff like that, so it's a bit different. But I've done courses, but I teach through experience. So, you know, but I think, you know, a course on helping people deal with emotions through painting and stuff like that, I think that's a really good idea.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Cheryl.
I'd like to come to Louise as well, because I'm guessing Louise is a bit like me. She's got so many years and years and years full of stuff to try and make sense of, to start thinking about where am I going to start? And also knowing it's not only where you're going to start, but how you're going to organize all this learning that you really want to get online. So Louise, where do you think you're going to be starting with this almost like library of learning?
Yeah, God, it's huge, isn't it? There's so much potential. Thanks, Lisa. First, I want to come back to Miriam, actually, because that struck a chord then about that. It's almost the imposter syndrome, isn't it? Going, oh, I don't have a qualification, I can't teach. I teach people to teach that don't have qualifications. So a lot of my learners that come on my course want to teach people how to do something, but then what we call non-accredited courses. So as long as you're non-accredited, you can teach anything. You could teach a bat to fly backwards, you know, as long as you're proficient in what you do. So I wanted to kind of say that. I think for me, it's how, I mean, I've got so many things I teach, and when I'm sort of teaching my courses, because mine are accredited training and assessor qualifications, and I tend to kind of teach people how to be trainers, and then I tend to say goodbye. And actually what I realized a long time ago is that I've got so many courses to upsell. So many times I'm teaching and people say, well, how do you teach groups of different people with different abilities? I'm like, oh, actually, it's not covered in this course, but I can teach that separately. So I think for me, I think my question really is that at the moment, a lot of what I'm teaching involves me needing to screen share, show people how to. So say, for instance, at the moment I teach live on Teams, and I'll share my screen and show people how to go from one application to another. What is the best way, Lisa, to record that? Because obviously you can record yourself in a Teams meeting, and I can record myself directing people from one application to another. But I always think it doesn't look very polished. You can tell it's a Teams meeting. What's that?
I use Screencast-O-Matic.
What's it called? Say that again.
Screencast-O-Matic.
Okay.
So I've used this ever since I started my business, because I also do little videos for people. What you can do, there's a free version or there's a paid version that you can install on your computer, and you can record anything on your computer screen. So whereas with Zoom you can only record certain bits. Also I find with Zoom, where, you know, where it puts you can record all your whole screen and stuff like that on Zoom, but what I don't like about Zoom is that it puts you on the side.
Yeah.
And I've seen people cut the person out the side. Does it not? Can you have it on the... Go on, Karen.
You can actually get rid of that, so you just see the screen as you're sharing the screen.
Oh no, that's what I don't want. So what I mean is that the courses I've done of other people's, they've been on the side talking, so they know, that that's their course. Whereas I've seen people cut them off and use that as training on somebody else's side. Whereas when I do my videos, I'm on the screen, so they can't cut me out.
Yeah, but you can do that on what's it as well?
Oh, can I?
On Zoom.
I've never done courses on Zoom. The reason being as well that I remember so many people coming to me during COVID when the internet wasn't very good, and they were the quality of Zoom was awful. Obviously, we don't have that issue anymore. But I've always used Screencast-O-Matic to record my course videos, unless I'm doing it in a group, because obviously then I need people to all be on a Zoom call, because you can only do it on your own. But what I tend to do is I share my screen, so you can just draw around where you want on the screen, and then I have me in the corner speaking, so they can just see me in a little box in the corner. But yeah, I didn't know that you could do that on Zoom, because everyone's I've seen, they've just been on the side in a little strip, and then the screen has been big. But I've used that. It is literally $18 for the paid version a year. So it's not a massive cost. And I know so many people who use that as well. And if you buy the pro version, you can use it offline as well, so you don't have to have any internet. You can just record like a presentation or something like that. Obviously you do need to have internet if you're recording, you know, something online, but it does work on you, and then everything gets stored either in your cloud. And the really good thing about Screencast-O-Matic is that you can upload straight to Vimeo. So you can just click and you can upload straight to Vimeo, so you don't have to even store the files on your computer, which is what I do, because then it cuts down on downloading it and then re-uploading it. And what you can do with Vimeo as well, I'll go over different platforms next week, but I use LearnDash, and in LearnDash you can just create a playlist in Vimeo, and then in LearnDash you can click create course from Vimeo playlist, and it just creates your course automatically for you. So they all connect together, which is why I use it.
Brilliant. Oh, thanks, Lisa. I won't be able to make it live next week, so I'll have to record it because I'm teaching. But yeah, thank you for that.
Can we come to Yvonne? Because I know Yvonne is very much, you know, she knows all the learning stuff, probably forwards, backwards, and every which way in between. But why have you waited so long, Yvonne, do you think, to get your learning up online? What's the bit that's stopping you?
Just time, I think, for me. I mean, the one I want to get online is my Talking Teens course, which is a 4-week course for parents to enjoy parenting a teen. And it's very popular, but I need it recorded and available online, because obviously parents of teens are often working, and trying to get them to come to a course is very difficult because they need to, you know, but you don't need to attend all 4. So you could actually pay for each one separately, or maybe have a discount if you bought all 4 or something. But I think for me, it's just time and having the means of knowing which is the best way to record it. You know, like you say, do I record it on Zoom when I'm delivering it? Or do I, you know, it's just having the mechanics, I think, for me.
Right.
I think with you, time is a massive thing, but you could do a course how to organize yourself to create an online course, because you're good at organizing people.
So coming to you,
Definitely.
Karen, because you're a bit of an online queen as well, because you put so many programs online. So what are some ideas perhaps you would want to share as well?
Oh God, too many ideas. I've got several courses already, and I've got a membership site and looking to sort of just simplify everything at the moment. So I'm just going to be redoing and reshooting all my videos right from the beginning, rebranding them with Grey Mass Publishing. And it's interesting when you talk about Screencast-O-Matic, because at the moment I'm using Auto Transcript and updating it in there for the closed captions, because sometimes it's that the sound quality isn't great, especially with the early videos, because what would happen with Vimeo or with the transcript on Otter from Zoom was, if I talked about a section break in Microsoft Word, it would come up as section breaks in the closed captions and transcripts. So you just have to be very, very careful about that and do check.
Yeah, I think so. You can set on the transcript before you record the video, and then as you're talking, and then it'll show you it at the end, and then you can edit it, and that type of thing.
And I think what Karen and I are doing, and it might be worthwhile for you to think about doing, is that we're going to beta test each other's pieces of learning. So again, perhaps that extra bit of confidence would be good for you, where you could say, okay, can I buddy up with you and we can beta test each other's programs, so that if, you know, we sometimes we can say something, it might sound like something else, or we might make a blazing error and we just don't see it. Like, it was so funny when you came online first thing this morning, I thought Lisa said I just farted, as opposed to what she actually did say. So something, you know.
I wonder what I said now.
I think you said I started, and I thought it came out like as though you'd said you'd farted. So I think
A way to introduce myself.
sometimes when somebody else hears it, they'll say, oh, I think I would change that if I were you. It sounds like blah, blah, blah. Or you make an inference to something and people then say, oh, that didn't come across really well. Or you mentioned somebody's name then. You shouldn't really have mentioned their name if you're going online and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it might be good to buddy with somebody just to get somebody quite impartial looking at what you do and giving you some great feedback. I just wanted the last thing to pick up on, because I know Ellen would like to create a membership site as alongside her desire to get some online learning going. So Ellen, can you tell us, you know, what your aspirations are there? Because I know you want to get learning online, but you also wanted to form an online membership as well. So can you perhaps pose a question to perhaps everyone or just to Lisa?
Yeah, oh, so good. I've got so many questions actually. My battery's going low, so after I've done this, I'll run and get it, my charger. But I know, I mean, I know what course I want to do. It's about the menopause, and it's just the knowing how to put it out there, you know. So you've given me some tips, but my thing is, it was interesting when you said about the membership and having courses within the membership, but how much, my thing is, how do you know how much to charge for different courses, you know? What do you, for those tiny courses within the membership, what would be, how do you know how much to charge? That's the question.
I think it depends on how long it takes you, and there's lots of different things. Like I have courses from about £37, and like my main course is £395, but then people can add on support, so that's the membership. So they can add 6 months support, so they're in the membership for 6 months, or they can pay monthly and that type of thing. But the courses that are in the membership are just smaller courses. So, but obviously you could have like the menopause course, and you could have that, and then they could have access to that, but then as you could turn that into a membership by them having access to you. Because most people, there's very few people who bought my course self-study. They normally add on like a membership or 1-to-1 hour or something like that to go through the information. So, you know, you can say, because before I used to say, 6 months access, and then I thought, actually, I could give them ongoing access. If they haven't done that course in 6 months, they can pay to keep having access to me type thing. So you could use that then to do that. But yeah, Cheryl would be better off saying about how to price things because she shouted at me how I price things.
We sorted you out though, Lisa, didn't
We did.
So a question to follow that up. What is a reasonable membership cost?
I think I've seen memberships starting, like you get memberships that like, you know, £15 a month. You get memberships that are like, I paid for memberships before and they've been like £250 a month. Do you know what I mean? It depends on what you were offering and your expertise. So it could be anything. Obviously, you've got to think about as well, like I do a live session a week. Until this year, it was 2 live sessions a week. So obviously the cost will differ then, but like how much of your time are you giving to that membership and all that type of stuff. But I know people that do memberships that are, you know, £500-600 a month. I know some people that some people that I know have paid to be in these memberships. I can see Carl nodding her head, so you obviously know this as well.
So you could have different levels though, couldn't you, really? Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do with mine now. I'm going to have like a basic support and then like a VIP support where they can have a 1-to-1 with me a month or something. But you also got to think that how many of those you can do as well. So you don't want to put it too like low priced and everybody will want that. And then you can't fit in all those 1-to-1s every month. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So we go to Karen as well, because I know you've done a lot on memberships. So Karen, how do you manage these memberships?
I use software called Restrict Content Pro, which basically is it just, you set up the membership levels. So it could be a subscription, it could be a one-off payment, it could be a payment plan. So you just set it up in the background, you allocate each course to a specific level or stuff, and then in the background, each web page or each blog page is allocated to that level. So only the people who are paying see what they're supposed to pay. So in the background, there's an awful lot of data analysis to make sure that the right stuff that they're supposed to see, that they see the free stuff, that anybody can see the free stuff, so that you give like a free samples, help people understand what it is you do, your methodology, how you talk, whether it's clear or not, quality stuff. And then I think my membership is 27 months, and there's quite a lot of stuff in there, plus the week call. But if you've got a lot of people in there, then it adds up.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, you make the money by the numbers. So there is an author who charges something like £9 a month. He has thousands in there because it's cheap. So it's about how many people do you want to work with as much as anything. Because, a cheap platform, loads of people will go in there, they may buy it, they may not watch anything. They're not going to worry too much about losing £9 a month. If you're charging an awful lot more, then it has to be a lot of value to the person receiving it. They should be able to make money from it and make that back as well, especially at that level. So it's just about what's in it for me and going back to the basics of why should I buy this? What am I going to get out of it? And how am I going to apply that in my situation?
Great, thank you. We've got to that time, we've got 6 minutes. I'd love to do a round robin on what people have got out of this program, because remember, next week we're actually going into the loading of stuff. So yeah, gosh, I better get my act in action. So I'd love to know from you what your thoughts are with regards to light bulbs of learning this morning, and I suppose next steps for you. So Lucy Mortgages, what have you learned this morning? How are you going to move this forward?
I've learned quite a bit, to be honest. I've always, like I said, just thought that I've never would want to do like an online learning, but it's not going to be online learning, but also like pre-recording hints and tips, really, of like putting something, blogging or YouTube's, just maybe doing that in the future, because I am looking to get my website up and running as well. So I think that would be good for like the SEOs and Google rankings. So yeah.
And sometimes I think you've just got to have a word with yourself to say, yeah, you can do this.
I can do it.
I'm
doing it.
Yeah, let's get it out. And Ellen, what about you? What light bulbs of learning have you had this morning, and how are you going to move forward?
Well, I'm just thinking, let's start. I just want to start and get going. I've thought about it enough, and I've tried to do it myself. But yeah, so if you can help me, Lisa, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, I want to personal chat with you about that, please.
We
Yeah.
can do that.
So Louise, where are you at? I think it's almost like, I think it's you're somebody who just realizes I've got to get it done.
That's exactly what I wrote down. Stop procrastinating, Louise. For me it's been brilliant. I mean, I bought one of those, I don't know what it's called. Is it a gimbal or something? Is it a gimbal, Lisa? Where you record yourself and it's like this.
Oh, right, yeah.
I bought that last year, still in a box, and that was a way of recording yourself on video, and not a cheap bit of equipment, but in a box. For me, Screencast-O-Matic is brilliant, because I've stalled for a long time because I don't like I teach on Teams and Zoom, but I don't like it as a pre-recorded bit of kit. It's not polished enough. So I think looking at that has been really useful. What I want to know next is how I put some of my stuff, how we put sound over. So say for instance, if you're teaching, if you've got an introduction, when you have like music playing in the background, or if I'm teaching meditation, how I can have music whilst teaching at the same time. So I've got as many things that I've learned as well as many questions to consider.
That's why we've done 2 parts.
Yeah. So I will watch the recording for next week. But that would be my recording for next week. My question for next week is, how do we add music into a session that doesn't sound tinny because you've got it on a speaker next to you, but that it actually feeds through the system? Because I know lots of people do that. So that was a little cheeky question for next week, because I will watch it on the record. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Louise. And coming to you, Miriam. Miriam's magic. How are you going to get Miriam's magic?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot to think about, but I've got so many things going on at the moment. I don't think by next week I'm going to have anything in place. I'm just going to be thinking about different ways that I can put workshops in place. That's a really lame excuse, I know, but yeah, a lot of food for thought, and I need to get my head around it, if I'm honest.
And you want to know, Miriam, you don't have to do anything between this week and next week. I've got to.
Okay.
So you can just think, oh gosh, Cheryl's lost, 3 stone. She looks very grey. What has she been doing? I've been getting this online learning ready. So you will see me in meltdown. So you can just enjoy this, watching the sweat, really.
Okay, jolly good. But thank you, Lisa. It's brilliant. It's really, really useful. And it's been great having feedback from everybody else as well today. So thank you.
Oh, pleasure. And coming to our Lucy the cook. So Lucy, what have you got to in your head with regards to taking forward your online learning?
Well, to be honest, as I said, me and Lisa had a meeting last week, and so I would never have thought about it if it hadn't been for I Am Women and the actual networking group that we had when we were at the cooking studio. So this is why I just think these meetings are just so important, because you're just constantly learning. So yeah, so I just think it's such a great idea. And Lisa knows I got other businesses coming through that I want to do that with as well. So yeah, I think online courses are definitely the future.
Fantastic, thank you. And coming to you, Karen. So how are you going to take your learning, folks? I know you're almost 3/4 full of online learning, really, aren't you?
I am, and I need to get my arse in gear as well. So stop procrastinating, but I keep getting ideas, unfortunately. This year for me is all about simplification. So I'm looking at my website, changing things around a little bit, looking at what courses to add in, what courses to take out, how to align everything to the published method. So there's an awful lot of sort of stuff going on in the background. I'm going to definitely have a look at Screencast-O-Matic. Just if it reduces other stuff that I use, then it will actually save me money if it does all the transfer and stuff like that.
$18 a year isn't a high price tag, is it?
Well, no, because I pay more than that for Otter. So I think if it does what Otter does as well as what it does as well, then it will pay for itself quite easily.
Fantastic, thank you, Karen. And Yvonne, where are you at now with your online learning ideas? Are you going to get learning?
Well, I have a list of ones I want to add. I may need to chat to Karen about membership, because that's something I know we've chatted about before. And I've already booked a meeting with Lisa on the 20th to sort myself out, basically.
Fantastic. And Ellen, while you were away, we did get talking about the price of memberships. So it'd be good for you to watch the rerun on that, yeah? So catch up on that. And as well, we are here as a family of women, supporting one another. So after today, if you have any questions of anybody here, just, arrange a Zoom or have a catch-up call or whatever, we're all here to support one another. Thank you, Lisa, for this week. We can't wait for next week. Really looking for part 2 of where we see it all the magic get put into action. So thank you very much, Lisa, and thank you everyone for coming on board, and we look forward to catching up with one another next week. Is there anything you want to say as your little parting comment, Lisa?
I think my favorite bit is I can talk about online courses, but having, you know, people seeing the ideas, like especially Miriam today, about all the things that she thinks she can do, and then that's when you think, right, okay, I can do this, and that's, you know, just chatting it out in a group like this. Do you know what I mean? I think that's, you know, I can like I said, I can teach people whatever, but it's those ideas, they are your own ideas, and getting that feedback. I think that's, you know, the way forward, really.
So it's remembering, you know, we all know our stories and we shouldn't forget our stories because they're so powerful and people can relate to our stories. And I think sometimes we can think, oh, we've got to be like the competition, or we've got to be like this or like that. No, really, we just got to be ourselves, because people will buy us based on us, really. You know, we're like Marmite, people will like us or spit us out, you know, and hopefully more people will like us than spit us out.
Hopefully.
You know, it is all about being authentic, isn't it? You know, we're all little gems in our own little bracelet, really. And you know, it's out, you know, being confident enough to say, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to shine, you know, and I'm going to put this online learning out there, and giving you an opportunity to create this passive income, to get to places currently you can't get, or just to save you time by breaking down really what somebody can do online. So well done, everyone, and look forward to seeing everyone next week. And thank you, Lisa. You can go and have a little lie down in that dark room now, have a nice little gin tonic, and we will see you next Monday. So cheerio, everyone, and see you next week. Well done.
Bye.
Lisa.
Thanks, Liz.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.